I am so thrilled that today and this week is our 15-year anniversary of being around. And I just want to share 15 things that I have learned since I started turning the corner back in April of 2011. So, starting with number 15, I want to talk about AI. We were actually one of the early adopters of AI. We started using AI almost the month it came out in December of 2023. And we have now sort of figured out when and when not to use AI. And so, for example, we do not use AI when we are recruiting. We want to have the intersection of where a human and a robot come together be actually decided by the human. So that is one lesson. Number 14 is that we have figured out over the years to really shift the way we think from looking at things from an angle of, well, it is what it is, to, what is the opportunity? What is the possibility? And the curiosity that we have experienced at turning the corner over the last 15 years has just accelerated. And it's been amazing because it lets us also be really curious about people and what they need and how we can best serve them. And so curiosity is another big lesson that we've learned over the last 15 years. Number 13 would be that I still want to support people who are on a job hunt. Everyone told me when I started turning the corner that I needed to focus on one thing and do one thing really well. And I just could never quite get the energy to do that, or not the energy, it just never quite made sense to me because no one knew more about what made a job search successful than a recruiter. We are really good at recruiting. Why would we not serve people who need support finding a job? And I am so glad that we have continued to support individuals who are on a job hunt because not only do we help them, but we also gather all this incredible data about what's working and what's not working when it comes to the recruiting process and what companies are doing. And so it's really gotten us ahead of trends, which is my next one, which is number 12, this dual marketplace that we have lived in. So, dual marketplace meaning both job seekers as well as companies. We have been able to always have kind of what I'd say is like a closed loop feedback because of being able to support both sides. I can tell a company exactly what someone needs from a job to be happy, and I can tell a candidate exactly what's reasonable to ask for. And that is only because we are living in this dual marketplace. We're sitting on both sides. It has also been a huge advantage for us when we sit down to talk to either side in terms of just really having an authentic story. So I am so glad I did not listen to all those people that said focus on one thing and do one thing well, because it's actually served us so deeply to be able to sit on both sides. Number 11. Well, number 11, I couldn't go very far into this without talking about my incredible team. Years ago, when I got really organized and really thoughtful about what do I really want from a team, it changed everything for me. And this was back in 2000 and maybe 12 or 13. So it wasn't a very old company at that point that I sat down and really thought about what do I really expect? And at the time, my amazing colleagues, who are kind of our founding members, we all sat down together and turned them into the values to which we hire and fire and manage and all the things in between. And actually, those values are still the values that we have today. And that then leads me to number 10, which is that my team, our team, it, oh my gosh, it's game changer when we're all aligned. I still do wake up in the middle of the night. I still do wake up in a cold sweat worrying about something. But what puts me back to sleep is a mantra of I have the team I know will help me figure it out. And just knowing that I've got that team in place as an entrepreneur of a small business and the leader of a small business, it's wonderful. So I get a good night's sleep most nights because I have those values in place and I know I've got the team that will help me weather whatever thing it is that woke me up. Number 9 is the importance of building community around this business. And so it's not just about me and it's not just about the team and it's not just about the customers. It's also all the other ancillary people that are involved with this company. The Boulder Chamber. I don't think I'd be here if it weren't for the Boulder Chamber. And I don't know who really ever talks about chambers in a positive way, but I think the Boulder Chamber is amazing. And I'm so grateful for their support over all these years. I also want to do a shout out to my bank. I switched banks in 2020, right before COVID, and I am so glad I did because Alpine Bank, my bank, has served us so deeply in all things of small business. I feel like I have at least four people I could literally pick up my phone and call, and they would respond to me and they would say, "Hey, Kendra," as I probably called them. So I just feel so great having that kind of a relationship with those two entities that I think, usually get kind of a bad rap when it comes to being an entrepreneur and leader. But then all the other community people around. So many. So just want to thank the community for helping us get to this 15-year mark. Number 8 is then also just really playing the long game. And when I say playing the long game is I never once paused to think, well, am I going to be around next year to do that thing? Or, gee, I don't know if that person's ever going to get that job because I don't know if we're going to be around. Like that thought has never crossed my mind. And I'm so glad because I've gotten to see so many amazing stories unfold over the years. I've helped job seekers start businesses. We have seen people completely turn the corner and go from being some kind of a role into something completely different. And those sorts of stories take time to unfold. And I'm just really grateful to have had these 15 years to truly see those stories unfold. And so thank you for having me and the rest of my team be a part of that journey. Number 7, we were fractional before fractional was even a thing. So when I started turning the corner, I had this idea of, wouldn't it be great to bring a high quality, low cost offering to small businesses for how to help them tackle all of their people problems? Fractional wasn't really a thing back in 2011. There might have been the occasional like fractional financial officer, but it wasn't as popular as it is now. But I brought that idea into the HR space really early, and I think a lot of people were like, "What is that?" But now, fast forward 15 years later, I feel like we were part of the kind of the movement to make fractional something that is available to small businesses. And boy, is it a great way to solve really complex problems with top talent in a way that is affordable for small businesses. Number 6, well, we have definitely been on the front line of all the different, I guess, technical shifts that have happened. Small businesses can't really afford to not adopt things that happen because we just have to move really quickly. I think big business can sometimes be more strategic or even like slower in reacting. Small business cannot. So, for example, every single time Google makes a shift to their algorithm, we get impacted and we got to adapt. Every single time there's a new social media platform or that social media platform changes the way that they do business, we have to adapt. When the pandemic happened and suddenly we had to make a bunch of changes, small businesses had to adapt and we had to as well. And so I think small business is really interesting in that sense because we're often really on the forefront of like, I guess on the front lines of all of those changes and have to adapt super fast to it. And I feel really proud that not only has Turning the Corner adapted, but we've often helped our clients adapt, which then leads me to number 5. Let's talk about remote work. I can't believe that on day 1 of Turning the Corner, I structured it to be flexible. Matter of fact, I invented a word back in those days. I also did buy the domain name. The word is flexibilized because I thought, why should I be telling people when to work, how to work, and where to work? I don't want to be told that. I want agency over my schedule and my life to make those determinations. And so since day 1, I've had that environment. And I'll tell you what, being that flexible has allowed us to just turn on the dime when we've needed to. So when COVID hit, we literally did not have to make much of a change. I had already started us down the path of having all of our training be over remote learning. In fact, we were one of the first companies to spend, I think, way too much money, like maybe to the tune of $10,000 on a Zoom room back in 2018 before Zoom was hardly even a thing. Because I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool to run our training in a remote or in a hybrid sort of way? I'm sure I didn't use the word hybrid, but that's what it became. And so, yeah, being ahead of the technology and being flexible has allowed us to really turn on the dime. Which then also leads me into let's talk about our actual customers. So, number three, we have had some long-term customers that have been absolutely amazing. So I want to call out Ozo Coffee. We've seen you grow so much and change and adapt. We saw your turnover rate go down significantly. We saw career paths become something that happened. And just want to thank you for giving us an opportunity to really be on the journey with you to talk about those things and make it happen for you and your team. And I always say that if a coffee shop can do it, anyone can do it. And I don't mean just that a coffee shop shouldn't be able to, but you've also expanded to have such an incredible impact over so many people. We are so grateful to be a partner with you. And Lignetics, you as well. Oh my gosh, watching you go from practically one or two locations to now 27 or 28 has been such an incredible thing. And I know the impact that we've had has been more on the training side and helping make sure all your managers feel equipped and trained. And just thank you for also letting us be a part of that journey. And I could name countless other customers like that that have just been a part of our portfolio that it's just been amazing to watch you grow. And that leads me to number two, which is that when I started turning the corner, I thought of some things would be so much simpler. Like I thought everybody trained their managers on how to be managers and quickly learned that that is not the case and just feel so blown away by the impact that our management training program has had. So back in 2015, when I developed the curriculum based on my Fortune 100 training that I'd gone through, modernized it for small businesses, the impact has been so incredible. We didn't do a great job counting at the beginning, but we think we have trained over 4,000 managers now on how to be a great manager. I don't think there is any faster path to ending suffering in the workplace, which is what our mission is, than to get managers trained. So, thank you for those of you that have been through the training, letting us be a part of that journey as well. And I hope that it's had the impact that we have intended it to have. And based on just the reviews we've seen over the years, I think it has. Which leads me then to number one, and that is what's in the heart is still there. I started turning the corner with really no business plan, if I can be honest. I didn't have much more than really just a gift and grit, which definitely running a business requires. But I knew back in those days that I wanted to make an impact and I wanted to help people love their jobs. And if you look at the in the show notes for this blog or you see what we've recorded in our newsletter, you'll see our vintage poster that I had created back in the very early days, the old logo and the brown everything. And what I had said and wanted turning the corner to be is still at its heart, all these years later, as what it is. And thank you for being on the journey, all of you. Happy birthday to Turning the Corner. See you soon.